the sentence handed down by the court today on Kapin Polo, the actress. It's all of Twitter trends right now. There is a Kapin Polo with 24,000 tweets, and there is Sewa. By the way, that's also related to this because of a comment that a disagreement does matter. And then there's Cardi B, and I'm guessing Cardi B because Kapin Polo was made her fame really shot into the stratosphere when Cardi. This has become for Ghanaian, at least on social media, talking about this all over the place. There are fundamental questions that we need to ask though as we begin to examine the issues. Because that a 90-day jail sentence by the Accra Circuit Court over naked pictures with her son. That's at the heart of this. There's a lot of conversation around nudity, but there's also the child, the minor, has obviously divided the opinions. In delivering the judgment, the judge was clear. She imposed a sentence to address the problem of nudity on social media and to serve as a deterrent by the children on Ghanaian social media platforms. Check Instagram today. There are prominent, celebrities, I guess, call them so, on social media who had, pictures that people deemed to be nude. On the back of this, people are beginning to think twice. These pictures have been on social media for so long. Today, I've seen some, by the way, to do this conversation. To cool down. Why? Does it mean that this judgment, this sentence, is beginning to bite? This is the conversation that has ensued so far. And by the way, Krapin Polo herself has a song. And there's a lot of talk on the...
It was an artist. I want you to know that it wasn't bad intention.
Crossing decency, we can also talk about even indecent exposure under the criminal code, criminal and other offences act. We can also look at abusing the child psychologically. We have other options depending on the information that we gather.
We go jet from New York to Bantama.
Man, I was really praying for that girl. I mean, really. I'm fasting and stuff. I was really praying for that girl. Jesus Christ, you guys, you don't even understand how this shit feels. It's rough out here, yo. It's rough out here for that girl trying, man. She is trying. You know what I mean? I got daughters, She doesn't deserve a day away from her son, man.
I'm sorry. Monchano, arrest what good man you must say. Why right? Monchano, the loss of this land should deal with her. Police of one channel no finding example. No, these same people are insulting an honorable judge at 1 year shave for doing her job. Tina Mobreno. Mompano crying and I mean you will be
say against worship. When we were at the case management conference stage, we evaluated all the evidence against a good case. So when the case goes to a full trial, the sentence will be harsher.
It's unfortunate, but I think if one's nudity can make a long-term imprisonment, I also feel that going forward is going to serve as a deterrent to others who are always displaying their nudity on social media.
Well, honestly, I think people are being too sentimental about this because she did the thing. She was responsible for her actions, and that should serve as a deterrent to other people. That now we know that yes, it's social media, but then at the end of the day, we can't use these platforms to influence people negatively.
Thanks to all my legends who supported me. I know you people love me and I love you too. Guys, your girl is strong. Sometimes in life, you have to pass through some things to make...
Connecting with me in the studio tonight is Maximus Ametogo, who is a technology analyst. Maximus, thank you for connecting here on Ghana Connect. So, of course, is one person who believes in freedom of expression, and some say, well, nudity is an extension of that. He joins us on Zoom right now. Hello, Chief.
Yes, hello.
Executive Director, Child Online Africa. Also connecting with us tonight, Leila Jansi is a US-based Ghanaian filmmaker. She's posted quite a bit about this. Hello, Leila. Thank you for connecting.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Great. Of London. Hello, Foss.
Hello, Evans. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for having me today. Longest.
Great to have you all, gentlemen, join us. And we'll be joined shortly by Reggie Rockstone himself. He gave a very emotional reaction to the sentencing that was handed down. I want to start with you, Leila. You, from what I understand, from what I read on your social media pages, you belong to the school of thought that says that this sentence is.
I personally consider nudity an aesthetic. I am not saying that what she did was right. I mean, not morally. I'm not judging her morals. I understand that it could offend some people's senses over here. But does that rise to a crime? I understand that there's a law in Ghana against indecent exposure, but I saw the photo, I Googled the photo, I looked at it, I'm like, what is indecent boobs? These boobs are boobs he suckled on. So I'm not sure that I understand why the punishment is so severe. Why is it not community service? Why is it not, I don't know, maybe else, which will still have the same effect of people pulling down what they posted on social media, right?
Interesting perspective. Force, do you agree?
Totally no, I don't. I'm sorry, Evans. Thank you very much for having me once again. I just feel that it was a bit lenient on the judge's behalf because 3 months, yes, it's 90 days. It's a long time away from the child. But if this had happened in the UK, and where the rules and regulations really try and protect the kid, it would have been a totally different thing. Stays these things in there, and it's about time that youth growing up get to know the laws that rules or governs the land of Ghana. It's extremely important. Yes, she admitted that she made a mistake. However, people should know these things before you go into them. Ignorance of the law, as I say, is what, Evans? You know that. It doesn't mean, it doesn't really take you off the case. And people are saying, how many times have you seen people get community service in Ghana? What are the communities? These are different areas and sectors. And the child's psychological effect, the psychology of the child that people don't seem to focus on, that's what gets me. And everybody think it's free for all. It's about time we actually redress the rule of law in Ghana. Yes, you can be emotional about it. You can be very ignorant about it, but once you break the rule, the law has to deal with you.
I see.
And in my eyes, you should have got 3 years, not 3 months.
Wow. Chief Moomin, you're the playwright. Do you agree with
picture first came out, there was a lot of public uproar against Madame Polo for what she did.
You must have condemned it too, then.
Yes, obviously. I mean, it was distasteful. But when it comes to the realm of law, the question that we ask ourselves is that, now let me start by saying that the law is not explicit, and we have to make that clear on the issue of nudity. The law is not explicit. There's no provision in our law that says that if you post a naked picture on, on Facebook or Instagram, that she broke the law. The question asks them that exactly what law has she broken? I mean, people talk about the law of indecent exposure, which in itself is a very extremely gray area. And today I read some very interesting articles by, in those biological books. Of course, on the face value of it is nudity, but there is an explanation to it. So there's a very gray area in the law, and I submit that you can't quote one particular law that she broke that will justify, judgment. And that the judge was very clear that it is to serve as a deterrent. And this is where I have a problem. The judge is doing what we call judicial activism. She's allowing her morality, to enter the duality when it comes to nudity is. So I don't think that the judge has absolutely the power to hand this sentence down on the basis that she's trying to use it as a deterrent, because the law in itself is not clear. If we as a people feel that yes, nudity should be imprisoned, should be punished by imprisonment, then let's go to Parliament, let's pass the right statute so that it is clear.
I think it's quite clear. I agree with our friend from the UK who talked about that, but I think the 3 years is too much. From what I have read,
Okay.
because you see, I'm looking at the angle of even the child, aside the nudity of the mother. Usually, most of us put they are in diaper or with powder on their faces in the bathroom or whatever, for the fun of it, or trying to tell people about how your child, whether you are the parent or not. The Cybersecurity Act also talks about indecent images of children.
Once
Whether
it's
an uncle,
indecent.
an auntie, or a person. When you do that, you are getting 3 years. So if you bring in the DOVSU and then the other laws, I think you will have in social media. It's like a public space. You can't go and stand at the high street or supermarket and be talking to your child that, oh, this is her naked, or at the Accra Sports Stadium, because she has a number more than.
That's an interesting point. You are equating what she did to her standing and Mokola
Exactly.
with the child, both of them naked.
Yes. And then you are talking to just the child.
Okay.
And you are posting it.
Just a second. Go on, Chief.
I'm saying that we see mothers bathing their young ones in public all the time. Is that also indecent exposure? Should we slump a 3-year jail sentence?
Thank you for that, Chief.
I'm saying that your point is that, I'm saying that it is clear there's evidence in our societies that mothers.
Yes, friend.
Okay.
We're not talking about attention here. We're talking about.
But that's exactly what is an artistic impression then? Tell me.
You see that? Hello.
What is the artistic impression?
Look, there's a little international art. There are art at the Smithsonian. I posted it on Twitter today. There is art out there that shows images of naked mothers and their children. If that is in whole, baits her kids, baits all of them. There are 3 of them. She baits all of them outside. Am I going to sue her?
But that's bathing the kids outside. This wasn't something that she was doing to actually cleanse the baby.
A motivation. We have Trokosi women. We have Trokosi women right here in Ghana who are tasked to walk around naked because they are wives of a wooden idol. What is anybody saying about that? Those women were not. They're not consenting at all.
Layla asked a question. I want to also walk with their breasts showing and naked on the street and in March. What? Why is that different? Why do you treat that differently?
Those are in some countries, right? In some countries, even photographers are given the permit to even photograph naked people in the park. You need permit. Those people are adults. You need
the implied consent. Once the mother sort of.
You can't
that's
imply
it.
that
exactly.
Because, look,
the child is not at the age of consent.
Can I make my point? She can't be naked on her bed and then the child picks her full body, look at her breast and all that, and shares it. Is it with her consent or not?
Okay. Raymond, where do you stand on this? Answer Layla's
particular point clearly, and let's be clear. The law says that the woman was charged with the publication of obscene material contrary to Section 280 of article that tend to deprave or corrupt persons who are likely, having regard to all relevant circumstances, to read, see, or hear the matter contained or embodied or rotten, to destroy the moral purity or chastity, to pervert or to ruin good quality, to debase or defile. We all know what was the purpose of her conduct in this particular case. It's known.
That's
now,
the question.
The other point is important here. Yeah. The other point is that state steps in to actually determine that. And this has happened in this circumstance. Now, the other laws are pretty clear on domestic violence. I mean, affects the privacy of the child, the picture out there.
Yeah.
It also affects the dignity of the child.
Exactly.
How many children, to be fair, would agree that it is important we consider the entirety of all of this? And let's be clear, a Kwapin Polo was actually advised by counsel, competent counsel, I believe. A Kwapin Polo came out to apologize for laws. Should we need to redefine it? And let me make this point before maybe you move on. Across the world, in New York, on nudity and obscene material publication, you also go up to 90 days in prison. In Singapore, it's 90 days plus a $2,000 fine. But 6 months in Canada, it is 1 year in jail. Now, when I'm comparing, because this is important that we are not making it look like we are the only ones doing this. Yeah.
I mean, is it in the involvement of a child, nudity, or this is just nudity generally?
Just nudity.
Okay.
But in some cases, it involves the child. There are cases like that, many of them in this particular case. Accusation at the end of it.
I see.
So it is not laws limited to Ghana. There are very established democracies that have it too. It's for very good reason. We should not pretend that there are not mothers who are not capable or have the ultimate interest of their child at heart. Equally, have effect on
So
the
you
child
brought
too.
up that conversation we'll have about, okay, so she has a child.
Mhm.
Now that she's gone into custodial sentence, what happens to the child? I'll come to that shortly and I get all your points. But I want to bring in Awo, who I haven't had in the conversation. Hello, Awo. Hello, the executive director of the Child Online Africa. Hello, Awo. Okay, we don't have it. We'll try and reconnect her. But I want to come back to you first. You make the point about she deserves even more punishment while she's gone, and the effects on the child if your 3 years was granted.
I like the fact. Thank you very much for that question, Evans. It's a very basically how we think that it's okay in other parts of the world, but it isn't really okay. The fact that we gloss over things and we don't actually pay attention to it doesn't mean it doesn't the child and put the child into government's custody, and then they would deal with the parent because the parent has to be fit to be a parent. The fact that you have a kid, and this is what kills me, it really hurts me a little bit because sometimes I come to Ghana and I see people with kids and they call themselves parents and they're not doing things that really help the kid. There are parents and there are family members that we can put this child in a good give this child to, so that this will serve. And the reason I blame some of the media houses, because I always say it. I said this about 8 years ago. The way the decommissioning and media houses and not fake, but any story works out in Ghana is going. We're going to get to a point that I've know it's happened before, because to be shown until 10 p.m. in the UK, they were being shown daytime in Ghana. We should be very careful. If we want the laws to work and if we want the system to work, and thing is okay to an extent is bad. And I know that she has family. They can take care of her kid as she goes and spend her time. If you do the crime, you do the time. And in my eye, when you went back to look at some of the images on Twitter, on social media, what has happened? They have taken it down. It means we have started to work.
Yeah, I mean, let's judgment must be placed in that bigger context. So that if you say it's too harsh, are you not encouraging? Are you for nudity at all in any sense, Chief?
Absolutely not. I'm a young man. I mean, I'm a Muslim, for crying out loud. You know, even as a man, I cover myself. So my personal, religious, social, views really is not about what we are debating here. And let me start by saying that nobody has said that she's been condemned enough. There's been a lot of criticism against those actions. People have called her all kinds of names for it. So it's not as if we are trying to justify that she is appropriate for the misdemeanor that she is claimed to have, how do you call it, the offense she has committed, and whether that punishment serves any practical purpose. Now, one of the major points you're making here is that this will serve as a deterrent. Trust me, this is not going to serve as any deterrent.
I mean, but have you watched?
It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. That's what, as a society.
But they are doing it in reaction to this.
Some level of nudity. If we think it is the place of the law to legislate on issues of morality, because you begin to drop into a slippery slope when you let the long arm of governance, of law, begin decadent activities that are holding our country back. My point is that you cannot use Epiapim Polo as a scapegoat. She's not the platform to use. If the judge wants to make a clear case against nudity, she should petition a member of parliament to introduce a private member's bill.
Very interesting point. Leila, I know you had something to say, but just give me a second. Let me hear from Awo, who we lost earlier. Awo, what do you make of that point, that using this case as a test case and don't scapegoat this young lady?
It's right that this judgment has been pronounced and people are talking about it. And for me, it kind of throws a light on the fact that there are laws that protect children. The inaction or inactivity, therefore the interpretation of the law should be done through the lens of the digital media. We have children's footprints created for them by their parents, by political parties. It's a good decision and it's a good case. So the best action should follow it. And anyone who falls prey to the law next time should also be taken on. And but then when you look at the Cybersecurity Act 2020, the Act 1038, Section 67, it speaks about that clearly. And the sentence is not less than 1 year, not more than 3 years.
But is it possible to get a direct quotation of what the act actually says? I know
a person shall not. A person shall not, with intent to cause serious emotional distress, intentional another identifiable person without the consent of the person depicted in the.
But we must understand the context of this particular law. And this particular law,
what is the context?
What is the context? It's about revenge porn. It's really about revenge porn and people posting.
No, it's not about revenge porn. This is somebody who has intentionally posted.
That's got nothing to do with revenge porn.
No, but this children in their excuses all the time on social media.
If this is not a revenge porn, maybe we need to look at that again. It is
so,
not
so what is the contest there? What contest is this?
If I'm posting someone's naked pic on my
phone, this is an intentional.
Asking how is it sexualizing the child? We have seen loads of pedophiles in our society.
Before the content was pulled down. That was what I reported to Facebook before the content was pulled down.
You reported. So hold on now. Are you saying you're referring to Aquapin Polo's post?
Yes.
Oh, so you reported that post and
children's photos here.
And are you saying that you in your report to Facebook you reference this law?
No. I don't need to reference the law because Facebook's own community standards says that a report, yes, they looked into it and saw that, yes, it was in place. So they took it, they pulled it down.
Question, I'm trying to refresh my mind about the picture. Was the child like nude, like was he naked?
He was fully naked.
Okay.
Line. I wouldn't
have you seen the picture?
Also,
I've lost track of the picture.
The child was not nude. The child was in yellow briefs. The mom stooped low.
No.
Okay.
If I took my child to the beach and I'm in my briefs and the child is in their briefs and I take a picture and I put it online, will I be culpable with this particular
position?
I just think you're missing most things.
Okay, first, give me first. But the picture that you reported to Facebook and which they pulled down, describe to me what the picture was without doing further damage to the child. Just give us a general sense of what it was.
So the young man was in his briefs, and the mother was nude. Yeah.
Okay, so that
spoke about the fact that the situation will determine what applies. So
it's really not about the image; it's about the context. That's the argument here.
No, Chief. If we want to use people's social status as spoken.
Would you consider it inappropriate if the same picture, let's say the context was not a photo shoot, but the context was that she was at the beach with her child and she's in a very scanty, two-piece bikini and the child is in a brief in the same pose? Would you still consider it inappropriate?
The law says
when other people are dressed similarly.
The law says it is wrong. And
okay.
What if she was breastfeeding her child and took a photo of herself breastfeeding her child and put it on social media? Is that also
not the case? I just think
okay. So hold on for me briefly. Let me hear Layla because she's been quiet for a while. But Layla, there's a substantive question I need to ask you, and I need to start this. People addressing. How do you begin to address it if not using this as a test case?
But does the punishment that she got warrant issue? Let's be fair over here. The real issue is the media space of this country. If Aquapin Polo did not have an audience, if she did not on air having this conversation right now, she is not the problem. So if you're going to punish her and put her in jail, every media outlet that shared that photo should also receive some form of punishment. Then everybody should get an equal share.
Okay, Foss, you had something to say.
I have loads, but I just for the first time, Layla's basically sung one of my tunes. Really made me happy because the law specifically and categorically states it. Chief has been trying to give examples and innuendos regarding said, and I quote Chief, with people in similar costume. Even at the beach, you're not allowed to be naked, fully naked, unless you go to some parts of the beach where it's demarcated.
Chief. Yeah, Chief. Just a second. Allow Foss to land on the point, and then you can come in.
this has nothing to do with nudity. You know,
Okay, Chief, just a second.
What you think is moral decadence, which is extremely subjective, and we must not allow the law to impose on
Okay,
it.
just a second.
The law cannot determine anyone's morality.
Evans, it's very easy for me to actually go on and about this, and I like the fact that I've got Awo on the line who's basically singing the same tune. However, with the time. However long or short the time is, you do the time. And also, we have given powers to the court. So if you sit there and tell me that if we go in along this route and then the judge is doing something that is unheard of, she has the powers behind her. And the moment we should be careful.
Okay. I need to come back to you, Chief, and Layla again. And thankfully, Reggie Rockstone, grandpapa of... Reggie, thank you for your time here on Ghana Connect.
Siamo.
Great. Reggie, just give me a second. I want to hear you, Raymond, very briefly. I know you had a lot to say.
I'm grateful.
Reggie, just a second for me. Just hold on for me briefly. Yes, Raymond.
At the core of this is whether early childhood exposure to parental nudity or scenes of parental life and how the impact of parents being nude before them concluded. Some of the findings are pretty simple. It says that exposure to sexual content and increase sexual risk taking. Example, early sexual activity and multiple partners.
I see.
2, exposure to materials related to that, including sexual media content, actually has negative effects on these children. May not be able to say that I don't like this. May not be able to say it well and say it boldly like he's supposed to say it. That's why the state stepped in to come and protect a child from a mother who might not know.
The system would have taken over because the child would have, I think it's Force, who made the point about being fit to be a parent.
Brilliant. But really going to have no family member being able to take care of the child. And we all know a Captain Polo recently was in Nigeria who was taking care of
Okay,
the
so there's
child
somebody.
in the first place.
Okay.
So somebody ought to be in a position to do so.
That's why
If
maybe
it's
the judge
determined
did that.
That child...
That we must understand. You can take a picture in the bathroom. When it goes on social media, it's no more a bathroom.
She has
Now,
over
children-
400K followers.
Exactly. Children must be protected.
Yes.
I see a picture of my child's toe on my social media page because they have their right to privacy. I don't need to create digital footprint for them. Then other people can exploit it later or they may find it distasteful. Let's protect...
Sentence that was handed down to Captain Polo.
Praying for that girl. I mean, really. I'm fasting and stuff. I was really praying for that girl. Jesus Christ, you guys, you don't even understand how this shit feel. It's rough out here, yo. She doesn't deserve a day away from her son, man. I swear. I mean, the reason why I'm emotional, you don't understand. You will never understand this. It's rough out here for these sisters, man. You seen these kids out on these streets begging? She's just trying to make all that. Damn.
Reggie Rockstone is on the phone. Reggie.
It explains itself. I'm human. Like I said, I have daughters. I have a very, very, I have a soft spot. I know women in Ghana go through so much. I mean, remember, I run a club before. I am the grandpapa. I interact with young people. But when my eyes wet, when I shed a tear, it really cut me. It cut me bad.
What cut you? People were quite confused. Were you saying
it cut me because it's a whole circus, It's stuff that you see on social media that she does. It's just to feed her child, And I'm not saying that the law is wrong. I'm not here to argue with the law. All I'm saying is I'm a human being, and it cut me, and that's just what it did.
So
if it didn't cut you, and you feel like it's okay that girl should be banged up, and I pray that she finds peace. I pray that the child is good. You never been to a Ghanaian cell before, or even been to prison before. It is no joke. People think it's a short term, just one day in there. That kid is going to need therapy. I think the kid will not do as well without her mother. Already, I'm hearing about punish Kwapin Polo, throw banger up, and that's that. That's a deterrent or a scapegoat or whatever y'all call it. What my whole thing, I'm coming from a human side of things, and that's all I am. I'm human.
Okay, but Reggie, clarify for me. Are you saying she shouldn't have been punished?
No, I'm saying that she could have paid
challenge, but the fine, I think yes, it's made.
This is all I'm saying. I'm saying it doesn't. In fact, she's the breadwinner. She looks after that child. Let's
No,
not
but
even get into the
Evans,
picture thing.
Evans, will
Right.
Reggie agree with me that the child, as it is now, would have to undergo therapy?
Yes, the
Likewise,
child
the
that was
mother.
going to be my question.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
furthermore,
He's answering.
we
Yes.
took his mother away from him. That's his father and mother. That's what Kriapim represents for that boy. And then Kriapim loves that boy. And that boy loves his mama. Do you understand me? It's the social media. It's the same. We did that. We are the ones who hyped her and all of the above. So we play a part in the story. Like I heard the sister say, we play a part in the story. We're not guilty. We are. Can't do it.
But Reggie, you made the point.
Pardon me if I get emotional.
You made the point.
All the other stuff, put it to the burner.
You made the point that we're all guilty, but if we are, how do you begin to deal with the problem that you've identified as we all guilty?
You see, just like the same way, God knows. So this is good that it popped up. It's something because it's divided us and everybody talking. But the one thing that I could bet my bottom dollar on, it don't feel good in my heart, bro. It just doesn't, and nobody can take that away. Make me emotion. So all in together now. Let's figure it out. But as it stands, there's no way I'm gonna lay my head, pray to Jah, ask. I just broke my fast. I prayed for her, and then ask that and be happy that the young sister is locked up and away from her son. It would never sit with my spirit, and my father too.
Thank you very much for connecting. I mean, but you wanted to say something. You had a quick point to make on Reggie's contribution.
Yes, I was saying that with all the emotional upheaval, it requires therapy because he must undergo some sort of counseling in order for him to
may I ask you a question?
And the mother would also need to undergo therapy.
May I ask you a question?
Right.
What is the child's condition? Is it just him being that you're so concerned about his condition, or is it just this photo?
It is not about being so concerned about his condition. Everything that Reggie just confirmed, that the boy was going to school and he's being mocked at. What is the effect?
He's being mocked at because of this action. What I'm asking
it's not because of the action.
This child's condition, was he a happy child?
Oh,
Laila, I am not supposed to test the child to know how the child is feeling. My responsibility is to remove.
Background is not necessarily proper. I don't think she has a good background. Did we make an effort to reach out to her to see how we could reform her as opposed to putting her? And I'm saying this because of prisons, not in Ghana, but in America. We're trying to keep people out of prisons because when you come back, prison is not always about reform. That's a bureaucrat's term. Reform is a bureaucrat.
I mean, but to be fair though, I think Leila also raises a bigger question too about, okay, so she's going in for 90 days. What do you do? Ridicule and psychological trauma. Well, I mean, so there are bigger questions. There are definitely bigger questions there that needs to be addressing. But let me end by quickly. I'll come to you. I'll come to you all very briefly. But I need to end by getting
in the context of the law. When you breach the law will come after you. It's that simple. We must also not extend our freedom to include children whose rights must be.
What about self-regulating ourselves?
Important.
But should we need, like Raymond? Do we need an external intervention in this conversation about regulating social media?
More prosecutions will send more signals to people. This week, we'll be talking about how when we don't enforce laws, more people die on our roads. When we don't enforce laws in any area in this country, people take the...
All right, so this one from Godfrey Kwashiga says, Jailing Polo shows that Ghana is sick. The level to which we've taken selective application of the law in Ghana these days is not only shocking, but frightening. We've lynched common sense, defied our constitution, democratized absurdity, and legalized hypocrisy. We are deliberately ignoring what's major to focus on the minor.
Yeah, so Kojo, a developing country. Freddie Champon says that these cases will go round and round. Either you look at it in full or half empty, depending on where one stands. And Komlavi Kokui says, here in Norway, you cannot just...
working and bragging. Who was taking care of the child? She deserves this. Ni Ayikwe says, go to Choco and see for yourselves. Parents, okay, and other places... we know in Ghana, right to the case of Ekuapin Polo, please, these morality police and all of that should give us a break. That was too hard on her. And another one here says, Chief, you get I agree with you and the points that you're making. That is K. Ama on Facebook.
That Ghana has problems. Godfred Kwashiga Edza with that message.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. Maximus, I'm grateful that you joined us. We have some, this is a comeback of the 10-year-old murder, and there's a consultative meeting. What about regulating social media? I mean, is it time to hold a consultative dialogue also on that?